Captain Lee Jun stood on the bridge of the UES Discovery and watched the stars through the main screen. The ship moved slowly through space near the edge of human territory. They were on a simple exploration mission to map new star systems and look for planets that humans could live on someday. Lee Jun had been a ship captain for 12 years, and this was supposed to be an easy mission. Nothing dangerous, just flying around and taking pictures of planets and stars. The Discovery was not a warship. It was built for exploration with strong sensors and computers for studying space. It had only basic weapons for protection against space rocks and small dangers. The crew of 40 people were scientists and engineers, not soldiers. They came out here to learn about the universe, not to fight anyone. Lee Jun was looking at the sensor readings when something appeared on the screen that made him stop breathing. 12 large ships had just appeared from nowhere. They were not human ships. The design was completely different. They looked like giant metal insects with long spikes and curved surfaces. The ships were much bigger than the Discovery, and they were moving fast toward the human vessel. "Sir, we have unknown contacts approaching our position," said Lieutenant Park Hyo from the sensor station. Her voice was calm, but Lee Jun could hear the worry in it. 12 ships, configuration unknown. They are not responding to our hailing signals. Lee Jun moved to his command chair and pressed the communication button. "This is Captain Lee Jun of the United Earth Ship Discovery. We are on a peaceful exploration mission. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions." He waited for a response, but only silence came back through the speakers. The alien ships continued moving toward them. Their formation was perfect and military. These were warships, and they were not here to talk. Lee Jun felt his heart beating faster. This was first contact with an alien species, and it was not going the way anyone had hoped it would go, Captain. "They are powering up weapons," shouted Engineer Kim Dan from his station. "Energy readings are off the charts. I have never seen anything like this before." Lee Jun grabbed the communication controls and tried again. "Unknown vessels. We are not armed for combat. We repeat, we are on a peaceful mission. Please respond." But the alien ships kept coming and their weapons were getting brighter. "All hands to emergency stations." Lee Jun called over the ship intercom. "This is not a drill. Prepare for possible combat." The crew moved quickly to their positions, but everyone knew the Discovery was not built to fight, especially against 12 warships. The lead alien vessel opened fire without any warning. A beam of purple energy struck the Discovery, and the whole ship shook like it was being torn apart. Lights went out across the bridge, and sparks flew from damaged equipment. The smell of burning electronics filled the air. "Hull breach on decks 4 and 5, reported Damage Control Officer Yu Suk. We have lost primary power to the engines and weapon systems are offline." Another energy beam hit the ship, and this time Lee Jun was thrown from his chair. He could hear people screaming and the sound of metal being ripped apart. The Discovery was dying, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. "Captain, the aliens are scanning us," said Lieutenant Park Hyo. Blood was running down her face from a cut on her forehead. "They are downloading our computer systems. They are taking everything, star charts, technology, information about Earth." Lee Jun pulled himself back to his feet and stumbled to the emergency communication station. If they were going to die here, then Earth needed to know what happened. He started recording a message while the ship shook around him from more alien attacks. "This is Captain Lee Jun of the UES Discovery. We have encountered hostile alien forces in Sector 77 Alpha. 12 unknown warships attacked without provocation or communication. They are downloading our systems and have superior firepower. The Discovery is lost. Warning to Earth Defense Command. These aliens are extremely dangerous and consider humans hostile. Prepare defenses immediately." The ship shook again, and Lee Jun could hear the hull cracking. Atmosphere was leaking into space, and the emergency alarms were so loud he could barely think. He finished the message and sent it toward Earth on all emergency frequencies, hoping someone would receive it before the Discovery was completely destroyed. "Sir, the aliens are moving closer," said Lieutenant Park Hyo. "I think they want to board us." "Not while I am still breathing," said Lee Jun. He moved to the self-destruct controls. "If they want our technology, they can have it in pieces." He entered his authorization codes and started the countdown. The alien ships seemed to realize what was happening because they moved back quickly and started firing even more weapons at the Discovery. They did not want the human ship to self-destruct. They wanted to capture it intact with all its information and technology. But Lee Jun was faster. The countdown reached 0, and the Discovery exploded in a ball of white fire, taking with it 40 brave humans and all the technology the aliens wanted to steal. The explosion was so bright it could be seen from several light years away. The alien warships regrouped after the explosion, and their commander was not happy. They had wanted to capture the human vessel and learn about this new species, but the humans had chosen to die rather than be captured. This was not what the Veltharian Empire expected from primitive aliens' war. Admiral Kethvar stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the debris field where the human ship used to be. He was angry that these new aliens had destroyed themselves, rather than surrender, but he was also impressed by their courage. Most species just gave up when faced with Veltharian firepower. "Admiral, what are your orders?" asked his second-in-command. "Should we investigate the wreckage?" "No," said Kethvar. "Send scouts to find more human ships and installations. If this species chooses death over capture, then we must destroy them completely before they become a threat. Contact the High Council and tell them we have found a new species that requires immediate conquest." The Veltharian fleet moved away from the debris and began searching for more human settlements. They did not know that Lee Jun's message had already reached Earth and was being played in emergency meetings across the planet. The aliens thought they had eliminated a minor threat, but they had actually just declared war on humanity. On Earth, Admiral Park Yuna stood in the command center of Earth Defense and listened to Lee Jun's final message for the 10th time. She had known Lee Jun personally. He was a good man and a fine captain, and now he was dead along with his crew, killed by aliens who attacked without any attempt at communication. "Admiral, we have confirmation that the message is authentic," said Intelligence Officer Lim Sua. "The Discovery was destroyed by unknown alien forces approximately 6 hours ago. We estimate 12 to 15 enemy vessels of superior technology." Admiral Park Yuna nodded and looked at the other military leaders gathered around the table. General Kim Woo from the Army, Defense Minister Choi Hana from the government, and Fleet Admiral Oh Bin from the Space Command. They all had the same expression on their faces: anger and determination. "Ladies and gentlemen," said Admiral Park Yuna, "we are now at war with an alien species that has demonstrated hostile intentions and superior firepower. They attacked our people without provocation and showed no interest in communication or negotiation. This is exactly the scenario our defense planners have prepared for." General Kim Woo leaned forward and spoke quietly. "What assets do we have available for immediate response?" "The regular fleet is not ready for this kind of engagement," said Fleet Admiral Oh Bin. "Our exploration vessels are not warships. They would be destroyed, just like the Discovery Defense Minister Choi Hana looked around the table and then spoke the words everyone was thinking. "It is time to deploy the Nightborne." The room became quiet. Everyone knew about the Nightborne project, but few had seen the actual ship. It was humanity's most classified military program, a vessel designed specifically for war against unknown enemies with unknown capabilities. "The Nightborne is still in final testing," said Admiral Park Yuna. "Captain Shin Tae reports that all systems are operational, but the crew has not completed full training protocols." "We do not have time for full training protocols," said Defense Minister Choi Hana. "Our people are dead and the enemy is out there looking for more targets. We need to respond before they find our colonies." Admiral Park Yuna stood up and walked to the large screen showing a map of human space. She could see the location where the Discovery was destroyed and the likely paths the alien ships might take to find human settlements. They had maybe days before more people died. "Very well," she said. "I am authorizing immediate deployment of the UES Nightborne under Captain Shin Tae. Mission parameters are search and destroy, no prisoners, no mercy. These aliens wanted a war, and now they will have one." The orders went out immediately to the secret shipyards around Titan, where the Nightborne waited in the darkness of space. Humanity's first true warship was about to begin hunting, and the aliens who had killed Lee Jun and his crew had no idea what was coming for them. Captain Shin Tae walked through the corridors of the UES Nightborne and felt the power of the ship around him. The walls hummed with energy from the fusion reactors deep in the hull. The air recycling systems whispered softly as they maintained perfect atmosphere throughout the vessel. Everything was new and clean and deadly. This was not an exploration ship like the poor Discovery. This was a weapon built by humanity to fight enemies they had never seen. The Nightborne was 3 times larger than any other human ship and filled with technology that most people did not even know existed. The hull was made from materials that could absorb energy weapons and deflect projectiles. The engines could push the ship faster than anything humans had built before, and the weapon systems were designed to destroy targets that conventional human weapons could not touch. Shin Tai had been chosen to command the Nightborne because he was the best tactical officer in the Earth Defense Forces. He had studied every military conflict in human history and understood how to fight enemies with superior numbers and technology. The ship designers had built a vessel that could hide from sensors and strike without warning, exactly the kind of warfare that humans had perfected over thousands of years. "Captain, we are receiving priority orders from Earth Defense Command," said Commander Bae Sol from the communication station. She was the weapons officer and had trained on every system aboard the ship. Her job was to make sure that when the Nightborne found enemies, they would be destroyed quickly and completely. Shin Tai took the sealed orders and read them carefully. The mission was simple. Find the alien ships that destroyed the Discovery and eliminate them. No communication attempts, no warnings, no mercy. The aliens had chosen to make this a war, and now they would learn what human warfare really meant, all. "Senior officers to the briefing room," announced Shin Tai over the ship intercom. Within minutes, the command team was assembled around the holographic display table. These were the best military minds that humanity could provide, each person chosen for specific skills that would be needed in the coming battle. Lieutenant Yang Ho was the navigation officer. He could plot courses through space that would keep the Nightborne hidden from enemy sensors while positioning the ship for optimal attacks. His knowledge of stellar mechanics and gravitational fields was better than any computer system chief engineer Kong Min understood every system on the ship and could repair battle damage while keeping the weapons and engines running at full power. She had helped design some of the Nightborne's most advanced technology and knew exactly how to get maximum performance from every component. Lieutenant Zhang Yo was the intelligence officer. Her job was to study enemy communications and tactics. To find weaknesses that could be exploited, she spoke 12 human languages and had spent years learning how to break alien codes and encryption systems. Tactical Officer Ryu Jin was responsible for planning attacks and defensive maneuvers. He could analyze enemy ship formations and identify the best targets for maximum damage. His understanding of 3-dimensional combat was so advanced that other officers came to him for advice. "The aliens who destroyed the Discovery are Veltharian Empire forces," said Lieutenant Zhang Yo as she activated the holographic display. "We have intercepted some of their communications and learned that they consider humans to be primitive and weak. They plan to conquer our colonies and enslave our people." The display showed the alien ships in detail. They were indeed larger than human vessels and appeared to have powerful energy weapons, but Shin Tai noticed something interesting about their design. The ships were built for intimidation and direct assault, not for stealth or tactical maneuvering. "They fight like ancient human armies," said Tactical Officer Ryu Jin. "Overwhelming force in direct attacks. They probably expect enemies to surrender when faced with superior firepower. They are not prepared for guerrilla warfare or hit-and-run tactics." Commander Bae Sol smiled as she looked at the alien ship specifications. "Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons from the front, but the power distribution shows weak points at the rear and sides. If we can get behind them, our plasma cannons will tear through their hulls like paper." Chief Engineer Kang Min studied the enemy propulsion systems and shook her head. "Their engines are powerful, but inefficient. They can probably outrun our older ships. But the Nightborne is faster, and they are not designed for quick direction changes. Once we engage them, they will not be able to escape." Shin Tai looked at each of his officers and saw the same determination that he felt. These aliens had made a terrible mistake when they attacked the Discovery. They thought they were dealing with a weak species that would be easy to conquer, but humanity had spent its entire history preparing for war. "Our mission is to find the Veltharian fleet and destroy it completely," said Shin Tai. "We will use the Nightborne's stealth capabilities to approach undetected, strike without warning, and eliminate every enemy vessel before they can call for help. The aliens will learn that attacking humans has consequences." Lieutenant Yang Ho activated the navigation display and showed the possible locations where the alien fleet might be. Operating? Based on their last known position and the direction they were traveling, I estimate they are currently in one of 3 star systems. We can reach the first location in 18 hours. The Nightborne began moving through space like a shadow, its stealth systems hiding the ship from any sensors that might detect it. The special hull coating absorbed electromagnetic radiation, and the engines were designed to produce minimal heat signatures. To any observer, the ship would appear to be empty space. While the Nightborne traveled toward the enemy, the Veltharian fleet was attacking human colonies in distant star systems. War Admiral Kethvar had decided that the fastest way to conquer humanity was to destroy their settlements and capture their technology. He believed that humans would surrender once they realized the futility of resistance. The attack on New Sol colony was swift and brutal. The Veltharian ships appeared without warning and began destroying the orbital platforms where 10,000 humans lived and worked. The colonial defense ships tried to fight back, but their weapons could not penetrate the alien shields. "Admiral, the humans are broadcasting surrender messages," reported the Veltharian communication officer. "They are offering to cooperate in exchange for the lives of their civilians." War Admiral Kethvar laughed and ordered his ships to continue the attack. "Destroy everything. These humans must learn that resistance is futile. When word spreads of what happened here, the other colonies will surrender without fighting." The New Sol colony was completely destroyed within 6 hours. Every human settlement and orbital facility was reduced to debris floating in space. Over 20,000 people died in the attack, and the Veltharian ships captured all the technology and resources they could carry. The news of the colony's destruction reached Earth through emergency communication relays. Admiral Park Yuna received the reports while the Nightborne was still traveling toward the enemy fleet. She felt sick as she read the casualty numbers, but she also felt a cold anger that would not go away. "Minister Choi Hana wants to know if we should deploy additional ships to protect the other colonies," said Intelligence Officer Lim Sua-no, said. Admiral Park Yuna, "The other ships would just be destroyed like the Discovery. Our only hope is the Nightborne. Captain Shin Tae must succeed or we will lose everything." The Nightborne reached the first search location and began scanning for enemy ships. The sensors detected nothing but empty space. Lieutenant Yang Ho plotted a course for the second possible location while the crew prepared for combat. "All weapon systems are online and ready," reported Commander Base Sol. "Plasma cannons are charged, torpedo tubes are loaded, point defense systems are active. Stealth systems operating at maximum efficiency," said Chief Engineer Kang Min. "We are invisible to conventional sensors, and our heat signature is minimal. No enemy communications detected in this system," reported Lieutenant Jang Yeo. "If they are here, they are maintaining communication silence." The Nightborne moved through the second star system like a hunting predator. Every sensor was active but set to passive mode, so the ship would not reveal its presence. The crew worked quietly at their stations and waited for contact with the enemy. "Captain, I have multiple contacts in the third system," said Lieutenant Yang Ho. 12 large vessels in formation around the 4th planet. Configuration matches the ships that destroyed." The Discovery Shin-tae felt his heart rate increase. They had found the enemy fleet, and now the real test would begin. The Nightborne was about to face combat for the first time, and everything would depend on whether the ship and crew could perform as designed. "Take us to the edge of the system and begin detailed reconnaissance," ordered Shin-tae. "I want to know everything about those ships before we engage, their positions, their capabilities, their weaknesses." The Nightborne moved carefully into the outer region of the star system and began studying the Veltharian fleet. The alien ships were arranged in a defensive formation around a planet where they had established a temporary base. They appeared confident and relaxed, obviously not expecting any human retaliation. "The enemy is conducting mining operations on the planet's surface," reported Lieutenant Jang Yeo. The UES Nightborne moved through the asteroid belt like a ghost among the rocks, the massive ship somehow invisible despite its size. The stealth technology that human engineers had developed was working perfectly. The Veltharian sensors showed. Nothing but empty space where the deadliest warship humanity had ever built was silently approaching. Captain Shin-tae stood on the bridge and watched the enemy fleet through the main display. 53 alien warships were arranged around the planet in a defensive formation that would have been impressive against any conventional attack, but the Nightborne was not conventional. It was designed to kill enemies who thought they were safe. Distance to target is now 200,000 kilometers, whispered Lieutenant Yang Ho from the navigation station. We are inside their sensor perimeter, but they show no signs of detecting our approach. The alien ships continued their mining operations on the planet below, their crews completely unaware that death was moving toward them through the darkness of space. War Admiral Kethvar was aboard his flagship Dominion's Fist, probably planning the next attack on human colonies. He had no idea that his fleet was about to be destroyed. I am reading their communication frequencies, said Lieutenant Zhang Yeo quietly. They are discussing resource extraction quotas and patrol schedules. No mention of possible threats. They believe they are completely safe in this system. Commander Bay Sol ran final checks on the weapon systems. Every plasma cannon was charged and ready. The torpedo tubes were loaded with the most powerful warheads that human technology could produce. Each weapon was targeted at a specific enemy ship based on size and importance to the fleet. Weapons are ready for simultaneous firing, she reported to Captain Shin Tai. We can engage 12 targets with the initial salvo. Secondary targets are programmed for immediate follow-up attacks. Tactical Officer Ryu Jin had spent hours studying the enemy formation and identifying the optimal strike pattern. Captain, I recommend we target their command ships first, then their heavy cruisers. If we eliminate their leadership and major firepower, the smaller vessels will be helpless. Chief Engineer Kang Min monitored the ship's power systems as they prepared for combat. All reactors are operating at maximum output. Engines are ready for evasive maneuvers. Shield generators are standing by. The ship is ready for battle. Captain Shin Tae looked at each of his officers and felt proud of their professionalism. They were about to fight humanity's first space battle against an alien enemy, and everyone was calm and focused. This was what years of training and preparation had created. Begin the attack, ordered Shin Tae. The Nightborne's plasma cannons fired simultaneously. 12 beams of superheated energy crossed space at the speed of light and struck the unsuspecting Veltharian ships. The alien vessels had no time to raise shields or take evasive action. They simply exploded in balls of brilliant fire that lit up the darkness. War Admiral Kethvar was thrown from his command chair as his flagship shook from the nearby explosions. Alarms were screaming throughout the ship, and his officers were shouting confused reports. Admiral, we are under attack. 12 ships destroyed. Enemy location unknown. Impossible, roared Kethvar. There are no human warships in this system. Our sensors show nothing. Another salvo from the Nightborne destroyed 8 more Veltharian vessels. The alien fleet was in complete chaos as ships tried to identify their attacker while moving to defensive positions, but they were fighting an enemy they could not see. There, shouted the Veltharian sensor officer. Energy discharge bearing 27 Mark IV. Distance 150,000 kilometers. The alien ships turned toward the location where the Nightborne had been firing from, but when they arrived, they found only empty space. The human ship had already moved to a new position using its superior speed and maneuverability. All ships concentrate fire on Grid Section 7, ordered War Admiral Kethvar. Saturate the area with everything we have, the Veltharian fleet fired. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles at the space where they thought the human ship was hiding, but their weapons hit nothing except asteroids and debris. The Nightborne was already attacking from a completely different direction. Commander Bay Sol fired the next weapon salvo from the ship's new position. 6 more alien vessels exploded as plasma cannons tore through their hulls. The Veltharian shields were designed to stop energy weapons from the front, but the Nightborne was attacking from unexpected angles where the defenses were weakest. Enemy casualty count is now 26 ships destroyed, reported Tactical Officer Ryu Jin. Remaining fleet strength is 27 vessels. They are trying to form a defensive circle, but they cannot locate our position. Lieutenant Yang Ho adjusted the ship's course to take advantage of gravitational effects from the nearby planet. The Nightborne curved around the world's gravity well and approached the enemy fleet from below their formation, a direction they were not watching. Admiral, the humans are using some kind of stealth technology, reported the Veltharian science officer. Our sensors cannot penetrate their cloaking system. They can see us, but we cannot see them, War Admiral. Kethavar realized that his fleet was being systematically destroyed by an enemy that could strike without being detected. This was not the kind of warfare that the Veltharian Empire was prepared for. They expected direct confrontation with visible enemies, not attacks by invisible ships. "All vessels retreat to minimum safe distance," he ordered. "We need to regroup and call for reinforcements." But Captain Shin Tae had anticipated this strategy. "Lieutenant Yang Ho, plot an intercept course for any ships attempting to escape. No one leaves this system alive." The Nightborne accelerated to maximum speed and positioned itself between the alien fleet and the edge of the star system. When 3 Veltharian ships tried to run, they found their escape route blocked by plasma cannon fire that cut them apart before they could change direction. "The humans are preventing our retreat," reported the Veltharian tactical officer. "They have blocked the primary escape vector." More alien ships exploded as the Nightborne continued its methodical destruction of the enemy fleet. Commander Bay Sol was coordinating the weapons with deadly precision. Each shot was calculated to cause maximum damage and terror among the surviving aliens. "Enemy fleet strength is now 15 vessels," reported Tactical Officer Ryu Jin. "Their formation is collapsing. Individual ships are attempting to flee in different directions." Lieutenant Jang Yo intercepted the increasingly desperate Veltharian communications. "Captain, they are broadcasting emergency calls for help. They are describing us as an invisible death ship that strikes without warning." "Good," said Captain Shin Tae. "Let them be afraid. Fear will make them careless and easier to kill." The Nightborne attacked again from a new position, this time emerging from behind the planet's largest moon, where the alien sensors could not detect the ship's approach. 4 more Veltharian vessels died in the surprise attack. War Admiral Kethavar's flagship was now one of only 11 ships remaining from his once mighty fleet. The other vessels were destroyed or so badly damaged they could barely function. The human ship was hunting them like a predator among prey. "Admiral, we must surrender," pleaded his second-in-command. "The humans have superior technology. We cannot fight an enemy we cannot see." "Never," snarled Kethavar. "The Veltharian Empire does not surrender to inferior species. Continue the attack." But there was no one left to attack. The Nightborne appeared and disappeared like a ghost, striking from impossible angles and vanishing before the aliens could respond. The remaining Veltharian ships were being picked off one by one. Commander Bay Sol targeted the enemy flagship with a concentrated plasma burst. The beam struck the Dominion's fist and penetrated its shields. The ship's hull was breached and atmosphere began venting into space. War Admiral Kethavar felt his ship dying around him. "This is impossible," he gasped as emergency systems failed throughout the flagship. "How can these primitive humans have such technology?" The final attack came from directly above the alien formation. The Nightborne descended like an angel of death and destroyed the last 5 Veltharian ships with a single coordinated salvo. War Admiral Kethavar's flagship exploded in a brilliant flash that marked the end of his fleet. Captain Shin Tae stood on the bridge and looked at the debris field that had once been 53 enemy warships. The battle had lasted exactly 6 hours, and not a single alien ship had escaped to report what happened. "All enemy vessels destroyed," reported Commander Bay Sol. "No survivors detected. The Veltharian fleet has been completely eliminated." "Excellent work, everyone," said Captain Shin Tae. "But this is only the beginning. There are more alien fleets out there, and they all need to learn the same lesson." Lieutenant Jang Yo was monitoring alien communication channels across multiple star systems. "Captain, I am detecting emergency broadcasts from Veltharian Command. Centers, they are reporting that the mining fleet has stopped communicating." "How long before they send ships to investigate?" asked Tactical Officer Ryu Jin, based on their military protocols. "Approximately 72 hours, replied Lieutenant Jang. Yo Captain Shin Tae smiled coldly. "Perfect. That gives us time to find their next fleet and destroy it before they realize what is happening. The aliens wanted to exterminate humanity, but instead, they have awakened something they cannot handle." The reports reached High Chancellor Mordoon's office like a series of hammer blows. First, the mining fleet at Kepler 442 had vanished completely. Then 3 patrol squadrons in different systems had stopped communicating. Now, an entire battle. Group near the Vega system was missing. Something was hunting Veltharian ships and destroying them without leaving any trace. "This is impossible," said military advisor Veltar as he studied the star charts. 7 different fleets have disappeared. In the past 2 weeks, no distress calls, no wreckage, no survivors. It is as if they simply ceased to exist. High Chancellor Morden stood at the window of his command center and looked out at the thousands of ships in the Veltharian home fleet, the most powerful military force in the known galaxy. Surely no enemy could threaten such overwhelming strength. "Perhaps the humans have allies we do not know about," suggested Intelligence Director Corlan. "Some advanced species that has decided to protect them?" "No," said Morden firmly. "Our scouts have analyzed human space thoroughly. They are alone and primitive. There are no unknown aliens helping them, but the evidence was undeniable, Veltharian. Fleets were being systematically destroyed by something that could strike without warning and disappear without trace. Whatever was doing this was hunting the Empire's ships with deadly efficiency. Meanwhile, the UES Nightborne continued its campaign of terror across 3 star systems. Captain Shinte and his crew had perfected their tactics. The ship would appear from nowhere, destroy everything in sight, and vanish before any enemy could respond. "Target acquired," reported Lieutenant Yang Ho as the Nightborne approached another Veltharian fleet. 15 ships in standard patrol formation. They appear to be searching for something. "They are searching for us," said Lieutenant Zhang Yo with satisfaction. "I have been monitoring their communications. They are specifically looking for the invisible ship that has been destroying their fleets." Commander Bay Sol smiled as she prepared the weapons systems. "They will find us soon enough, just not in the way they expect." The attack followed the same pattern that had proven so effective. The Nightborne struck from an unexpected direction and destroyed multiple targets before the aliens even knew they were under attack. But this time, something different happened. "Captain, one of the enemy ships is launching escape pods," reported Tactical Officer Ryu Jin. "Should we destroy them?" "No," said Captain Shin Tai. "Let some of them escape. I want survivors to spread fear among their people." 3 Veltharian officers managed to reach safety in an escape pod and watched in horror as their fleet was methodically destroyed by an enemy they could not see. The invisible human ship appeared and disappeared like a nightmare, striking from impossible angles and vanishing before they could fight back. "How are they doing this?" gasped Commander Zarkoth as another ship exploded. "Our sensors show nothing but empty space." "It must be some kind of advanced cloaking technology," said Navigator Morquez. "The humans are more advanced than we thought." The few survivors were rescued by a Veltharian search ship 6 hours later. Their reports of an invisible death ship that could appear anywhere spread panic throughout the Empire's military fleet. Commanders began requesting additional escorts and sensor ships for protection. But Captain Shin Tae had more ambitious plans than simply destroying random patrols. He wanted to strike at the heart of Veltharian operations and send a message that would be heard across the galaxy. "Lieutenant Zhang Yeo, what is the location of their main supply depot?" he asked during a briefing session. "According to intercepted communications, the primary logistics center is at Wolf 359, she replied. "Over 200 ships, including cargo vessels, escort cruisers, and a battle station." "Perfect," said Captain Shin Tae. "If we destroy their supply lines, the entire Veltharian war effort will collapse." The Nightborne began the long journey to Wolf 359. During the trip, Chief Engineer Kang Min discovered something interesting while analyzing captured alien technology from previous battles. "Captain, I have been studying the Veltharian ship components we recovered," she reported. "Their computer systems are more advanced than ours, but they have a critical weakness." "What kind of weakness?" asked Commander Bay Sol. "They use quantum entanglement for instantaneous communication across vast distances," explained Kang Min. "But the system is vulnerable to specific electromagnetic frequencies. If we can disrupt their communications, they will be blind and deaf." Captain Shin Tae immediately saw the tactical advantage. "Can we build a jamming device?" "Already working on it," said Kang Min with a smile. "Give me 12 hours and I can block their communications across an entire star system." While the Nightborne prepared for its most ambitious attack yet, the Veltharian Empire was mobilizing its greatest fleet to hunt down the mysterious human ship. High Chancellor Mordun had authorized the deployment of 800 warships under the command of Grand Admiral Torvek. "This human vessel cannot be everywhere at once," declared Grand Admiral Torvek to his fleet commanders. "We will spread our ships across 50 systems and force them to fight us in open battle." But the Grand Admiral had no idea that the Nightborne was not just one ship. It was the beginning of humanity's real response to alien aggression. On Earth, the secret shipyards were working at maximum capacity to build more vessels based on the Nightborne's design. Admiral Park Yuna stood in the construction facility and watched as the second ship of the class was being assembled. "How long until the Retribution is ready for deployment?" she asked Chief Designer Wan Q. "Another month for final systems integration," he replied. "But Captain Lee Yun's crew is already training on the simulators. And the others, 6 more ships, are in various stages of construction. Within a year, we will have a fleet of invisible warships that can strike anywhere in the galaxy." But Captain Shin Tae could not wait for reinforcements. The mission at Wolf 359 would be the most dangerous yet, because the Veltharian supply depot was heavily defended, and any mistake could mean the destruction of the Nightborne and its crew. "Approaching target system," reported Lieutenant Yang Ho. "I count 197 ships in defensive formation around the main supply station. Activate the communication jamming system." Ordered Captain Shin Tae. Chief Engineer Kang Min engaged the new device and smiled as the results appeared. On her monitors, "Jamming is successful. All Veltharian communications in this system are blocked. They cannot coordinate their defenses or call for help." The Nightborne began its attack with surgical precision, targeting the cargo ships first to destroy the supplies that kept the Veltharian war machine running. Each destroyed freighter meant that alien fleets would run out of fuel and ammunition. "Supply depot is losing 40% of its capacity," reported Tactical Officer Ryu Jin as more cargo vessels exploded. "Their entire logistics network is collapsing." But the Veltharian defenders were not helpless. Even without communications, they began firing randomly into space, hoping to hit the invisible attacker. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles filled the area around the supply station. "Incoming fire," warned Lieutenant Yang Ho as he maneuvered the ship through the deadly barrage. "They are saturating local space with weapons fire." The Nightborne was struck by a lucky shot from an alien battlecruiser. The ship shook as energy penetrated the stealth systems and damaged the outer hull. This was the first time the vessel had taken any battle damage. "Hull breach on Deck 7, reported Chief Engineer Kang Min. "Stealth efficiency reduced by 15%. We are more visible to their sensors." Captain Shin Tae realized that the mission had become much more dangerous. The aliens were adapting to his tactics, and the Nightborne could no longer operate with complete impunity. "Continue the attack, but prepare for emergency jump to hyperspace," he ordered. "We destroy as much as possible, then retreat before they can. Organize a coordinated response." Commander Bay Sol concentrated fire on the largest targets. The battle station at the center of the formation exploded in a massive fireball that lit up the entire system. The destruction of the command center sent panic through the remaining Veltharian ships. "Station destroyed. Enemy formation is breaking apart," she reported. "Many ships are attempting to flee the system." "Let them go," said Captain Shin Tae. "They will spread word of what happened here. Fear is as powerful a weapon as our plasma cannons." The Nightborne destroyed 63 ships, including the main supply depot, before withdrawing from the system. The damage to Veltharian logistics would take months to repair, and the psychological impact would last even longer. As the ship escaped to hyperspace, Lieutenant Jang Yo intercepted frantic alien communications from across the Empire. "Captain, they are calling us the Death Shadow. Stories about our ship are spreading to every Veltharian fleet." "Good," said Captain Shin Tae. "Fear will make them careless and paranoid. They will waste resources on defensive measures instead of attacking human colonies." But the war was about to enter a new phase. High Chancellor Mordoon had finally realized that humanity posed a serious threat to the Veltharian Empire. He authorized the deployment of the entire home fleet to hunt down and destroy the human vessel. 800 ships will be searching for us now," said Tactical Officer Ryu Jin. "We cannot continue operating alone against such numbers." "We will not be alone much longer," replied Captain Shin Tae. The greatest fleet in Veltharian history assembled at the edge of the Wolf 359 system, 800 warships arranged in perfect formation under the command of Grand Admiral Torvek. The massive armada included every type of vessel the Empire could deploy, from fast scouts to heavy battleships that could destroy entire planets. "This human ship has made fools of us long enough," declared Grand Admiral Torvek to his fleet commanders. "Today we will trap the invisible coward and show the galaxy that the Veltharian Empire cannot be defeated by primitive aliens." The alien fleet spread out across multiple star systems in a coordinated search pattern. Their sensors were operating at maximum power, and they were using new detection methods specifically designed to locate cloaked vessels. High Chancellor Mordun had ordered that no expense be spared in hunting down the human ship, but Grand Admiral Torvek did not know that he was not hunting just one vessel anymore. The UES Retribution had joined Captain Shinte's mission along with 4 more ships of the Nightborne class. Humanity's invisible fleet was now powerful enough to face any enemy force. "Captain, we are receiving transmission from Admiral Park Yuna," reported Commander Bay Sol from the communication station of the Nightborne. "The entire Earth Defense Fleet is moving to support our position." Captain Shinte smiled as he read the message. Admiral Park Yuna was bringing 60 ships, including the flagship UES Indomitable. Humanity was no longer hiding from the aliens. This would be open warfare with everything at stake. "Signal all human vessels," ordered Shinte. "We rendezvous at coordinates 77 Alpha in 12 hours. It is time to show these aliens what human military power really looks like." The meeting point was an empty region of space between 2 star systems. As the ships arrived, Captain Shinte felt proud of what humanity had accomplished. Just months ago they had only exploration vessels and research stations. Now they commanded a fleet that could challenge the greatest empire in the galaxy, Admiral Park. Yuna's holographic image appeared on the bridge of the Nightborne. She looked determined and confident as she addressed the assembled fleet commanders. "Ladies and gentlemen, the Veltharian Empire has made the mistake of thinking that humans are weak and primitive. Today we will correct that misunderstanding." Permanently, Captain Lee Yun of the UES Retribution was eager for battle. Her ship was newer than the Nightborne, and equipped with even more advanced weapons. "Admiral, what are our orders?" "The alien fleet is hunting for us across 50 systems," replied Admiral Park Yuna. "We will give them exactly what they want. A direct confrontation where they can use their superior numbers, but they will discover that numbers mean nothing against superior technology and tactics." Fleet Commander Obin studied the tactical displays showing the positions of all Veltharian ships. "Admiral, their formation is spread too thin. If we can concentrate our forces at one point, we can destroy a significant portion of their fleet before they can respond." "Agreed," said Admiral Park Yuna. "Captain Shinte will lead the initial attack. With his stealth ships, when the aliens move to respond, we will hit them with the main fleet." The plan was risky but necessary. Humanity could not win a prolonged war against the Veltharian Empire. They needed to inflict such devastating losses that the aliens would be forced to negotiate or abandon their expansion into human space. The Nightborne and its sister ships moved silently toward the largest concentration of enemy vessels. 47 Veltharian warships were searching the Proxima Centauri system under the command of War Admiral Jektar. The alien commander was confident that his force was strong enough to destroy any human vessel. "Begin the attack," ordered Captain Shinte. 5 invisible ships struck simultaneously from different directions. The Veltharian fleet was caught completely off guard as plasma beams tore through their formations. 12 ships exploded in the first salvo, and 8 more were crippled by secondary attacks. "We are under attack," screamed the Veltharian sensor officer. "Multiple contacts. They are everywhere." War Admiral Jektar tried to organize his remaining ships, but the human vessels were too fast and maneuverable. They appeared and disappeared like ghosts, striking from impossible angles and vanishing before. "His gunners could acquire targets. All ships converge on my position," he ordered. "Form defensive circle and concentrate firepower." But Captain Shinte had anticipated this response. "Signal Admiral Park Yuna. The aliens are grouping for defense. Begin main fleet attack now." The space around Proxima Centauri suddenly filled with human warships as Admiral Park Yuna's fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. 60 vessels materialized around the confused Veltharian force and opened fire with everything they had. "This is Admiral Park Yuna of the United Earth Defense Fleet," she broadcast on all frequencies. "You attacked our people without provocation. You murdered our civilians without mercy. Today you learn why that was a mistake." The battle was swift and devastating. Human ships equipped with captured alien technology and improved weapons systems cut through the Veltharian formations like swords through paper. War Admiral Jektar's flagship was destroyed by a concentrated barrage from 5 human cruisers. "Enemy fleet is broken," reported Fleet Commander O. Bin. "Surviving ships are attempting to escape." "Let some of them go," ordered Admiral Park Yuna. "They need to report what happened here." The few Veltharian ships that escaped carried news of the disaster to Grand Admiral Torvek. His confident search operation had been turned into a trap that cost him 43 warships and thousands of trained crew members. "How many human ships attacked your fleet?" demanded Grand Admiral Torvek. "At least 60 vessels, sir," replied the surviving War Admiral. "They have technology equal to ours and their tactics are superior." They struck from multiple directions simultaneously. Grand Admiral Torvek realized that he had been hunting shadows while the real human fleet was assembling in secret. The primitive aliens had played him perfectly, and now they had revealed their true strength. "Signal all fleet elements," he ordered. "Converge on Sector 77 Alpha. We will destroy these humans in one decisive battle." But the human fleet was already moving to a new position. Admiral Park Yuna had no intention of fighting 800 ships in open space. She would use the same hit-and-run tactics that had proven so effective. "Captain Shinte, take your stealth ships and continue hunting their patrols," she ordered. "The main fleet will strike their supply lines and force them to spread out again." The war entered a new phase of mobile operations. Human ships appeared wherever Veltharian forces were weakest and disappeared before reinforcements could arrive. The aliens found themselves fighting an enemy that refused to engage in the kind of massive fleet battles that the Empire preferred. High Chancellor Mordun watched the casualty reports with growing alarm. In just 2 weeks, his forces had lost over 100 ships to human attacks. The primitive aliens were proving far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. "Perhaps we should consider negotiating with these humans," suggested military advisor Veltar. "They have proven to be formidable opponents." "Never," snarled Morden. "The Veltharian Empire does not negotiate with inferior species. Deploy the reserve fleets. Bring every ship we have to destroy these humans once and for all." The order went out to mobilize the Empire's entire military. Over 1,500 warships would be committed to the campaign against humanity. It was the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. But on Earth, Admiral Park Yuna was receiving reports that changed everything. Intelligence networks throughout the galaxy were reporting that enslaved species were beginning to rebel. Against Veltharian rule, the human victories had inspired resistance movements on dozens of worlds. "Admiral, we are receiving communication requests from 17 different alien species," reported Intelligence Officer Lim Sua. "They want to join our fight against the Empire." "Put them through," ordered Admiral Park Yuna. The holographic display filled with representatives from across the galaxy, beings that had suffered under Veltharian oppression for centuries, and now saw hope for freedom. "Admiral Park Yuna," said Council Leader Althron of the Althan species, "your people have done what we thought impossible. You have proven that the Empire can be defeated. We offer our fleets to join your cause." Similar offers came from the Centauri Republic, the Free Worlds Alliance, and a dozen other civilizations. Suddenly, humanity was no longer fighting alone against the Veltharian Empire. "Welcome to the Coalition," replied Admiral Park Yuna. "Together we will end Veltharian tyranny forever." The final battle took place in the Vega system, where Grand Admiral Torvek had assembled his massive fleet. 1,500 Veltharian warships faced a coalition force of 800 vessels from 23 different species. But the real advantage belonged to the humans with their superior technology and tactics. Captain Shin Tae commanded the stealth squadron that would begin the attack. "All ships prepare for coordinated strike. Target their command vessels first." The invisible human ships materialized throughout the Veltharian formation and began destroying the flagship and communication centers. Without coordinated command, the massive alien fleet quickly descended into chaos. Admiral Park Yuna led the main coalition attack, her ships equipped with the most advanced weapons that human engineering could produce.